House.
Hey, Jared, we're tripping on into our headliner, which is brought to you by Bruno's Pizza, $15.99 any large. Order today at brunosnd.com. This one is for you, Jared. This is the Jared-themed headliner. You brought him in. You have him. The lead singer, the Two-Tone Lizard Kings, Adam Rankin.
I appreciate that. You have no idea how much country music I've had to listen to lately, Adam, and I wanted to mix it up a little bit because I wanted to get a little horns in here, I think, and a little ska music. So
you guys are buddies. Go ahead.
Yeah, my wife's a big country music fan, and I can relate to where that gets a little exhausting from time to time. But I guess you listen to anything long enough.
So there might be a little country into your a little into your vibe, maybe a little bit on the ska end.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe. You don't have to appease me.
So Adam and I met at a Christmas party. Gosh, it's got to be about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer.
I think longer than that even.
Yeah, and my buddy is having a Christmas party. My wife does what Heather does, and she's out talking to everybody, meeting friends, making friends, and she comes over and she's like, hey, you've got to meet Adam. He plays a lot of the music that you like. And at first I'm like, wow, she knows what music I like. That's good. And then so I go over to talk to Adam, and we're having a good time. We're talking. He's saying how his band plays a lot of the same. The Boss Tones, Real Big Fish, Dropkick Murphys. I'm in a good mood, so I buy a CD, and I am happy to hop in the car and listen to a CD on the way home, except for the fact that day I had actually replaced my CD player with an MP3 player in the car and could not listen to it. So that tells you where we're at. It was probably longer than 10 years ago. So I get home,
know that part.
Pop it in the stereo, and listen to the CD twice, and after that I was sold. This is like one of my favorite bands. I'm like, wow, these guys are really, really good. And so that's how I came across the Two-Tone Lizard Kings.
Thanks. Established in 2014. We do have 3 albums, full-length albums on iTunes. We're signed to Megalith Records, which is primarily run by the Toasters. So if you listen to the Toasters or Buck, who's the lead singer of the Toasters, he's a man of many talents, and he has Megalith, which we are signed on to.
Nice, very cool. And you guys are out of Tempe or out of Phoenix? I
would just say the Valley of the Sun, because we're kind of everywhere.
Like most of us are, right?
Mm-hmm,
and you weren't the one who fell into the pool at that Christmas party, were you?
No.
Okay, good.
That was you, Jared. You just don't remember.
It wasn't me. I would remember. All right.
So help me out, guys, okay? I mean, I did some research, all that kind of stuff, but you guys are the experts on ska punk. So tell our listeners, what is this genre about? And a little bit of a history lesson would be good.
I wouldn't even call it a genre. I mean, it is a genre, and it obviously historically, when you listen to ska music in its original form, it sounds a lot like reggae. Right. But it's funny that you actually, if you were to talk to a drummer who understands their beats, you could actually say to them, give me a reggae beat or give me a ska beat, and they would know what to play. Like, so it's a reggae, in drummers terms, there is actually a reggae beat and a ska beat. But primarily what you're listening for is you're listening for upstrokes instead of downstrokes, right? So rock, punk rock, a lot of country music, they're playing a lot of downstrokes. Whereas, and in country, you hear some upstrokes. I like some old Buffett. I like Zach Brown. I like some of the Kenny Chesney stuff that comes out. Brad Paisley's a really, really good guitar player.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're listening for that up. Mm-hmm. That upstroke instead of it being downstrokes.
Okay.
And then in ska music, you tend to find, obviously I like to say it's like punk rock with horns.
Yeah.
Where it's not quite as upbeat, but you take that upstroke sound and then you add a horn section to it. There's ska bands out there that don't have horns, and it really does have to do with that ska beat.
The horns are what always draws me in, I think. As soon as I hear a horn playing, I'm into the music. I really like the music. And I like your horn line. It's fun.
When I started listening, sorry about that. So when I started listening to your stuff right away, I totally noticed the horns.
Yeah.
And then when I was doing the research on it, I didn't know, right? So I'm completely in the dark for the most part on that, right? And I just Googled, great ska bands, and I didn't know. It was like No Doubt. I didn't know that they were labeled that. I didn't know Sublime was. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, I did know. Right. Because the shirts that you wear, Jerry.
Because I keep dragging them in here as much as I can. So,
but I was surprised, right? I was surprised because I just, I thought that was not that, not that genre. And then I looked it up and like, wow, that's really cool.
And Adam and the guys do some mean covers of my Boss Tones, so I really appreciate it when they play it. So,
yeah, we originally started off as a cover band 16 years ago now, where we were doing a lot of the Boss Tones covers, the Real Big Fish. We do a lot of these days. We like to throw in the specials, which are kind of like old school English ska scene.
Yep. Are they first wave? Would you call them first wave or second?
Yeah, I'd call them first wave.
What's your go-to cover?
It's kind of a mix. Boy, that's
when you're like,
tough.
all right, we're gonna just light this thing up. What's your go-to cover?
That's tough. So, okay, I'll answer that a different way. So right now, my favorite cover that we do is really how we close out our show. So off of our last album, we have a song that we did called Insomnia, and it's a really, really hard-hitting, badass tune. But at the end of it, we actually move into Immigration Song by Led Zeppelin. Right. And then at the end of that, we move into The End by the Beatles.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
So you just roll through three there at the end.
Yeah.
I think my favorite cover right now of you guys is Maggie May, but that's just me, I think. So
that's a good one. So Pie Tasters, that's another band that I didn't mention earlier that I should have.
Yeah, they're really good. I really enjoy them. So
yeah.
So how long have you been touring? 16 years? Or when did you start? Have you been out on the road?
Touring is trickier because we all have families and day jobs.
Right.
Our longest tours have only been a couple weeks, but we started pretty early on. We would shoot down to Tucson or shoot over to LA. Got to play at the Roxy one time in LA. That was fun.
What's your favorite green room story?
I was at the Roxy probably, where first thing that comes to mind, the Roxy's their green room is upstairs.
Right.
What makes the Roxy so cool from a band perspective is when you walk down on stage, they have these giant theater curtains that they close before you're going to go up, and then when ladies and gentlemen, the Two-Tone Lizard Kings, and then the theater curtain goes up, and then you get to see the crowd. So the curtain goes up, and that place was packed. People. It was wall-to-wall people. It was really cool. But favorite green room story was green room at the Roxy. They have two green rooms upstairs. And we had just gotten in, and it was really late, and I was super tired. So I went upstairs to try to find some place to lay down, and there was a couch up there that I went to lay down in it, and it was like, so gross. Lay down in this couch, and I was like, I gotta find someplace else. But I sat up and I looked across the room, and there was a picture of Bob Marley sitting in that same couch.
The same couch.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like,
and then were you like, I'll go back down and lay there?
That's a historical couch right
there. So where were you guys at when, with the band, when, in March, obviously we know COVID hit and all that kind of stuff. Were you guys out and about, or what, how many shows did you end up not having to play, or what was going on?
We had a really, really big show that we had to shut down. That was in Vegas. We had two California trips. And obviously, and that was just off of our own booking. That wasn't off of the national traveling acts. They usually hit us up a couple months beforehand. We've had to turn down some pretty awesome tours in the past, again, because of families and jobs. But we were going to try to go out for 4 days, 5 days on a couple of occasions, and we weren't able to do either one of those. Bummer.
When do you plan on getting back out there?
It really has to do. So I see it as more when we start seeing the national acts kicking back in gear, which is the real bummer of all this is going to be to see who is going to be able to get back out. Right. Mm-hmm. Because some of these guys, they're on the road for months at a time, and that's where they make most of their money. So they get back and, they got to find a job. So I mean, who's going to find that job where they just don't want to go back out on the road?
Right.
I know some guys that have been doing a lot of live streaming and a lot of like self promotion while they've been locked down, and they've been able to do pretty well.
Yeah, we've been talking about some of the ways during COVID that artists and festivals and people have been trying to get out there. And one of them was live streaming. And, you know, for me, a live stream was great because, you know, the Dropkick Murphys right out the bat were probably one of the first people that did a St. Patrick's Day show, because that's their gig, right? And so they did a live stream there, and then they've done streaming out of Fenway. And you're still in touch with the fans. And then you guys went and did one recently down at what, Last Exit Live?
That was at Last Exit Live, yeah.
How was that?
It was awesome. I mean, again, as the vibe itself is really strange. I saw Fishbone did a show at like a drive-in, you know, where everybody's kind of stayed in their cars, but they set up this huge stage and they were playing in front of the cars, you know, to keep people distanced.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool. Our live stream, I thought, turned out really well from a production perspective.
It looked great.
Sound quality, the video production was really nice, but there was nobody there.
Was it hard to get in? Was it hard? You know, like you do your you know, pre-show rituals and all that kind of stuff, and then you get out there, and then it's a live stream. But was it hard to get into it? Right? That's my question. You know,
it wasn't hard to slam a couple of beers before we entered. That part came naturally to me.
Is that your pre-show warm-up?
Beer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It really. So that the biggest thing, if anybody saw this, is that I was wearing sunglasses
right
at the beginning of our stream. I was wearing a hat and sunglasses, and I've never once worn sunglasses.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I was watching. I was in the pool smoking a cigar and drinking a beer, and very happy that I could get some Two-Tone Lizard King music.
Can't figure out how to turn that off.
That's fine.
The sunglasses, though, what? Because there's so many lights on you. Is that what it was?
No, it was literally because there was nobody there, and I didn't have. Normally, like when we're playing, I'm usually, you know, kind of
eye contact
with the people. Yeah, I like to make eye contact with people. But we do a lot of screaming and yelling, and when we do, I tend to like squeeze my eyes shut. And I wasn't sure how that was going to translate in the video.
Right.
But then I just got to the point where I was like, "This is stupid," and I just threw them off. It wasn't me. How
many people were out there watching you guys when you were doing it?
They said that, and we knew of a bunch of like streaming parties that were going on, but at the high point, there was a couple hundred.
Right.
I think the next day there was close to 4,000 people that had watched it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Very cool.
How many were in physically there? Just you and?
Oh no, it was it. Just the band. There's the band. We had, I think it was two or three videographers, and then we had a producer, and then our sound guy, and then our lighting guy, and that was it.
So on the drive-in theaters, we've talked about that where we've talked about it a lot because you know, if you don't know, Luke does a music festival, and we've been talked about the various options: pods, drive-in theaters, live streaming,
caged corrals,
bubbles. Luke wants to get people. You know, we want to get out where we're actually engaging in people, right?
Well, back to it, right? Where there's people there, there's people, right? You know, there's 400 or 500 at the, you know, venue, or, you know, a couple or thousands of people at the venue. Cause I'm more of the guy, like, I want to be there. I want to hear the big speakers going for sound check. I want to smell the beer. I want to see the guys. I want to see the ladies having a blast. I want to smell the onions cooking and the burgers rolling and all that good stuff. I want to really get in, and I want to experience it. Not to say I don't like a good set of music, but I want the whole thing, and I want this to progress.
When the kick drum beats your heart for you,
yes,
then you're good.
You're my guy right there.
Would you do a drive-in show?
Is there still one up in Scottsdale? I'm trying to think if there's even a drive-in.
I know there's one out at 59th and Bethany Home.
That's the one right there.
Odd fact about that one, it used to be my dad's dairy farm when he was growing up as a kid. That's
cool.
So I haven't been over there in a while, but I know Bert Kreischer, the comedian, is doing a drive-in, or just did one up in Prescott. They turned, Finland, the auto dealer, the Toyota dealership up there, they turned the parking lot into a drive-in theater, and he did a show up there. So I don't know.
I love Bert Kreischer. He's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's pretty funny, right?
The Machine.
The Machine. Have you watched The Cabin yet?
The Cabin. What's that?
It's his new TV show on Netflix.
Oh yeah. You know what? I watched like maybe 15 minutes of it. Didn't grab me right away.
Yeah, if you get to the second one with Nikki Glaser and Caitlyn Jenner, it's pretty interesting. It's a good time. So,
I got a question
Yeah.
here. Will there be a resurgence of ska?
So ska always floats underneath the radar.
I know it's floating, but will it be a major resurgence?
And it would be really great to be able to say without a doubt, yes. I don't think it'll ever go away, because it's a really, really fun time. The live shows are great.
Yes.
People listen to ska music all the time and they don't even realize it. Like if you ever watch like kids cartoons, most of the cartoons have a ska intro beat to it because it's really upbeat and it's fun. Right?
Yeah.
that's how I was trying to describe it to Luke. It's like, it's really upbeat. It's a good time. But when you start listening to the lyrics, you're like, whoa, that was kind of dark every once in a while.
Well, when I first hit your Spotify up and then I started listening to Bombs Away, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know this stuff.
You're like, I've heard it.
I know, I'm like it. I like it. So you're not going to Nostradamus it for us and give me a date of like, this year is when it's going to explode again. Not that it's never gone away, but you know what I mean? Nothing?
We've gotten to a point where there's a lot of button pushing that goes on when it comes to making music.
Right.
And country music aside, because I think in the country realm, you still do have a really, really strong presence.
Right.
The singer-songwriter relationship doesn't really translate into ska music, though.
Right.
You don't really, you don't see people outside of the band writing songs for bands in the ska scene. It just doesn't really work like that. And that's, I think country music, to its credit, these days, that's why it can pop out so much great music, is because you have songwriters focused on songwriting and you have singers focused on singing. Because there's a lot of time and effort that goes into writing music. But the other side of the fence, when you look at pop and a lot of the stuff that, turns popular for kids, because the sweet spots, the 18 to 24 year olds.
Right.
I think there's just so much of that sound that comes now. It's computer generated and it comes from pushing buttons.
Right.
And that's never going to be ska music, because ska music is all about, in general, it's all about the live.
It is. It's the show. I can't wait to drag
all about the show.
Luke out to one of your shows. And
you won't have to drag. I'm in now. I was like, yeah, I know.
He's taking me out. Where are we? In a week, 2 weeks, we're going out to see Tracy Bird.
Next Wednesday, we're going to Tracy
Bird. I don't know
Bird.
who Tracy Bird is, but apparently Luke keeps telling me he's a big country star. So.
Flying
live music. Go for it, dude.
Yeah, we're going out to a dude ranch in Wickenburg. So it should be a good entertaining.
It'll be a good time.
I'll be looking for the mosh pit.
It'll be a good time.
So Luke likes to wrap these things up with one final question for you. So
if you could do anything in the world right now, non-music related, what would that be?
The first thing that came to my mind would be to be out on a boat in Lake Erie, believe it or not. So I grew up in Ohio, right on the lake, and I got to go back a couple weeks ago and was out on my brother's boat with him, which sadly sank last week.
Oh no, what happened?
I don't know.
Storm?
He doesn't know. I think people always ask, did he leave the plug out?
All right.
Yeah.
Did you take the plug with you?
I think the hull, it was an older boat.
Right.
I think the hull may have had some kind of a crack or something in it. But
so you're not a suspect.
Being out on the being out on the lake when the lakes are glass and you got a beer in your hand and you got the skyline in front of you, it was awesome.
It's a good time.
Just floating around, just hanging out.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that
That's
too.
good. Is there any way we could ask you to end this with one of your great ska, would we say screams or a vocal or anything like that? I know you're probably not warmed up yet, and so I apologize for springing that. But is there any way we could get anything from there? Or even Bombs Away, something like that?
Let's see here. Let me think.
Wow, that's putting
I'm
me on the
digging.
spot.
This will be good. I heard him do it earlier. I'm like, oh, this would be good.
Oh, yeah, that's where that came from.
Oh yeah, I heard you earlier do a little scream.
Let's see. Jumping on the floor with your elbow to your knees. Rudy's in the back, you'll get him beaten physically. Buckets at the bar, he's getting drunk, he's about to dance. With buckets, got his beer, you know it's time for Skankerman to pick it up with the rude boy style. Pick it up,
Yeah. Woo!
Adam, you are the best. Our favorite.
Yeah. I love
Answer the
it.
question though. That's the real question, to be like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm very happy right now.
There it is. There it is. Hey, Adam, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you. How can all of our listeners track you guys down and follow you? So when you're out back touring, how can they find you and go see where you're performing, or even find your music so they can listen to you like I did and I enjoyed so much? Jared introduced me. So how can they find you?
Be Two-Tone Lizard Kings, which is number 2. Sometimes they write it two-tone as one word, number 2. On either iTunes, Facebook is a great way to reach us if you want to see when shows are coming.
Yep.
Spotify, Pandora.
Got some good live shows on YouTube. So
and actually you can catch the stream that we did at Last Exit Live. I believe that is now up on YouTube.
Oh, that is great. And go out, hit up that Spotify, hit up Bombs Away. That's my new favorite song. I do love it quite well. And man, I will be at that next show that you're happening here in Arizona. So you can count me in, my friend.
Yeah,
right,
I will see you there too.
Thanks for coming, man.
Jared, thanks again, guys.
All right. Thanks for coming, Adam. That was great.
Brothers and sisters, I hear you asking yourself day after day, what am I gonna have for lunch? Do I want another burger? Do I need another taco? Brothers and sisters, may I introduce you to BRUNO'S Pizza. Pizza is the bread of endless possibilities. What can go on a pizza can go in a calzone wrap. Look beyond a pepperoni, 32 pizzas and a snack. If you like heat, try the Lava Hawaiian. Marauder pizza is also kicking. You need BRUNO'S Pizza in your life. Let the humble BRUNO'S Pizza lift you up from your hunger and deliver you into the realm of satisfaction. East Front Avenue, online at BRUNO'sNT.com. Can I get a napkin?
Know the rest, and we are out of here. Woo!